Have you ever heard of a house so haunted, so cursed, that it drove everyone who lived there to the brink of madness? A house where whispers in the dark aren't just your imagination, but a warning? Stay until the end, because what you're about to hear will change how you see the world forever. Nestled on the outskirts of a sleepy New England town, the house on Willow Hill was an imposing structure that loomed like a shadow over the landscape. Built in the late 1800s by industrial tycoon George Whitmore, it was rumored to be cursed from the day its foundation was laid. Workers often reported strange occurrences during its construction. Tools would vanish and phantom footsteps would echo through the unfinished halls. A tragic accident claimed the life of a foreman, and some said his spirit never left. By the time Whitmore moved in with his family, whispers of misfortune had already taken root. His youngest daughter, Clara, fell ill and died within months of their arrival. Distraught, his wife, Eleanor, began hearing Clara's laughter in the hallways. When she was found lifeless in the attic one morning, clutching a doll that had been buried with Clara, the townspeople declared the house cursed. After Whitmore vanished without a trace a year later, the house sat empty for decades. But its dark reputation grew. Brave teens dared each other to spend a night inside, only to flee in terror, claiming they'd seen shadowy figures or heard Clara's eerie laughter. In the fall of 2023, the Morgan family moved in, oblivious to the house's sinister history. Caroline and Jake Morgan, along with their 10-year-old son Ethan, were drawn to the house's Victorian charm and its surprisingly low price. "It's just old stories," Jake reassured his wife as they unpacked. Caroline wasn't so sure. From the moment she stepped inside, she felt an oppressive heaviness in the air, as though the house was watching. Ethan, on the other hand, was delighted. He loved exploring the creaky corridors and hidden rooms. One evening, he found a dusty old music box in the attic. When he wound it up, a haunting lullaby began to play. "Look, Mum," Ethan called, but when Caroline joined him, the music box was silent. "It's broken," she said, placing it on a shelf. But that night, as the Morgans sat down for dinner, the lullaby began to play on its own. Over the next few weeks, strange occurrences became routine. Doors slammed shut without warning, lights flickered, and cold spots appeared in the warmest rooms. Caroline often felt a presence behind her, only to turn around and find nothing. Ethan began speaking of a little girl named Clara who wanted to play. Jake dismissed it all as childish imagination. "Kids make up imaginary friends all the time," he said, though even he couldn't explain the scratches that appeared on the walls overnight or the unsettling whispers that filled the house after dark. One evening, Caroline was baking in the kitchen when she heard Ethan scream. Rushing to his room, she found him trembling under his bed. "She's angry, Mum," he sobbed. "She says we need to leave." Caroline hugged him tightly, her own fear mounting. "Who's angry, Ethan?" "Clara," he whispered. "She says the house doesn't like us." Desperate for answers, Caroline began researching the house's history. At the local library, she found newspaper clippings detailing the Whitmore family's tragic demise. One article mentioned a priest who attempted to cleanse the house in 1903, but fled after declaring it a portal to darkness. One detail caught her attention. Clara Whitmore had been buried with her favorite possession, a music box. That night, Caroline decided it was time to leave, but Jake refused. "We've put everything we have into this house," he argued. "I'm not running away because of a few spooky noises." But as the clock struck midnight, the house made its intentions clear. The lullaby began to play, growing louder and more distorted. The walls shook violently, and a chilling scream echoed through the halls. Caroline grabbed Ethan and ran for the door, but it wouldn't budge. Jake, pale and sweating, finally conceded. "All right, we'll leave." But the house had other plans. The doors slammed shut, and every window shattered simultaneously. In the chaos, Ethan's voice cut through the din. "She says we need to give her the music box." Without hesitation, Caroline raced to the attic, dodging flying debris. She grabbed the music box and held it up. "Is this what you want?" she screamed into the void. The house fell silent. As Caroline slowly descended the stairs, she saw Ethan standing in the living room, his eyes wide with wonder. "Mum, look!" he exclaimed, pointing to the center of the room. A translucent figure of a little girl stood there, clutching a doll. Her expression was sorrowful yet peaceful. "Thank you," the girl whispered. "I just wanted my music box." Caroline placed the music box on the floor, and the girl picked it up. She began to fade, but before disappearing completely, she smiled. "You're free now." At that moment, the oppressive heaviness lifted. The cold spots vanished, the air grew warmer, and the Morgans felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The house, it seemed, was no longer haunted. The Morgans sold the house shortly after, disclosing its history to the new owners. Strangely, the new family reported no paranormal activity. Perhaps Clara had finally found the rest she deserved. As for the Morgans, they moved to a small, sunny home in Florida, far away from haunted hills and whispering shadows. But every now and then, Ethan would hum the lullaby from the music box, and Caroline couldn't help but wonder, had they truly escaped, or had Clara left them with a reminder of her presence? The Morgans sold the house shortly after, disclosing its history to the new owners. Strangely, the new family reported no paranormal activity. Perhaps Clara had finally found the rest she deserved. As for the Morgans, they moved to a small, sunny home in Florida, far away from haunted hills and whispering shadows. But every now and then, Ethan would hum the lullaby from the music box, and Caroline couldn't help but wonder, had they truly escaped, or had Clara left them with a reminder of her presence? What do you think really happened in the house on Willow Hill? Was Clara a vengeful spirit, or was she simply misunderstood? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more chilling tales that will keep you up at night.